So, Sid, talking about replacements, though, at Real Madrid, and say Tchouaméni is to go into the starting 11, if Casemiro is to go on, we do know that Madrid do like to have that depth, and they do like to have a backup player in each position. So with this money that they're bringing in, are they going to be looking at bringing someone else in before the window shuts?
Well, I think if they could find a reasonably economic alternative, I think they probably would do that. But bear in mind that you're right, they have tended to want players in depth, backup players in every position. But actually, over the last few years, there have been two players in the team that don't have replacements. One, of course, is Karim Benzema, but the other has been Casemiro. And it wasn't really until this summer with the arrival of Tchouaméni that Real Madrid felt that they had a replacement for him. Now, they're not quite the same player, and Ancelotti has talked about Tchouaméni being much more kind of dynamic, much more able to drive from deeper positions than Casemiro, perhaps a little bit less positional in terms of the way he plays. And certainly at the weekend against Almeria, I think we saw him look a little bit uncomfortable at times. So I think if Real Madrid could find an alternative that was relatively cheap, I think they would do it. But I certainly don't think they'll go chasing it, because there's also a belief that Camavinga, if needs be, can play in that deep position. Ancelotti has used Toni Kroos in that position. Now, I must say, personally, I'm not convinced by Kroos in that position, but he can play there if needs be. You've got Dani Ceballos still at the club as well. There's even the possibility, I suppose, that you could play Fede Valverde there, although I think he's a bit too dynamic for that. He doesn't hold his position well enough. And so I think, look, Madrid will be interested in potential alternatives, but I don't think they'll go out and spend a significant chunk of that money. You know, let's say for argument's sake they get 60, 70 million euros. I don't see them going out and spending more than half of that on an alternative.
As for Manchester United, Frank, if Casemiro comes in, does it elevate their chances to finish in the top four?
Definitely, because he's a fantastic player, because I think he's still fit, and because he's a leader. We always talk about the fact that they're lacking leaders, that they all play their part, try to, but they don't play together. And if, as Craig's question, you know, Ten Hag decided to bring Casemiro, he's gonna put him in the middle of the park, but also in the middle of the dressing room to make sure everybody goes with him and work together. That's the plan. Yesterday I said in the show that they should, you know, get a meeting of all the players they want, you know, get them together, make sure that they have like 5, 6 players who wants to come, like that they can change almost the team and make it work, because that's what it is right now. If you bring somebody, you don't know what he's gonna bring really to the club. But Casemiro, it's a good sign of, you know, better results for Manchester United, for sure. Because, you know, with all due respect for Fred or McTominay, there is no comparison, and I don't see any other players as good as Casemiro right now in the middle of the park. He's a fantastic defending midfield player.
The only problem most of us have got, I think, are the finances. But if Man United want to blow the finances on these older players, that's their business. Their strategy has been haphazard at best for best part of 10 years now. I don't think anybody's debating the quality of the guy. Maybe the ability to get around the pitch that he once did, and, you know, the tactical fouls that, you know, we've talked about in this show. He's one of the best in the world at getting away with stuff, it seems. He gets caught the odd time. But more often than not, you watch a game and think, how the hell is he not get red carded today? But he manages to sort of convince and cajole the referees and win these little fouls. But listen, signing a better player always makes you better. But you mentioned the top four. Unless he's got Superman's cape on, he ain't getting in the top four. Have anybody watched him recently? You know, there are better sides in the Premier League. There are bigger holes that need to be filled in this Man United squad. It would be a start, but, you know, bearing in mind what we've seen from them so far, there are so many leaks in this ship that one player's not going to come in and just patch that up.
So, Stevie, where do they finish with a fully fit Casemiro playing week in, week out for them?
Well, they ain't in the top four.
Where did you have them?
Before a ball was kicked, I had them in 5th.
Right.
They ain't getting 5th. If they're lucky, they'll get 6th. And I'm not putting any money on them getting 6th.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.